My secret son became my billionaire CEO ex-husband's intern, and they worked side by side for 3 months, without knowing each other. Miss Ashford, Mr. Gallagher is ready for you now. I stood in the lobby of Gallagher Industries, my portfolio shaking in my hands. I was here for a routine client meeting, a simple marketing consultation, in and out in an hour, and I'd never have to see Knox Gallagher again. Then I saw the roster on the reception desk. Youth Innovation Program, Summer 2024. And there, 5th name from the top, River Ashford, age 13. My 13-year-old son was in a special program here, at his father's company, with the man who had no idea he existed. Miss Ashford? I looked up at the glass elevators and felt my blood turn to ice. Because descending in one of them, laughing together like old friends, were Knox and River, my ex-lover and our son. Side by side. The resemblance so obvious it hurt to look at them. Knox's hand was on River's shoulder. Proud. Paternal. The way a father touches his son. Except he didn't know that's what he was doing. This is the story of how I walked into a building for a business meeting and discovered my worst nightmare was already happening. How my son had spent 3 months building a relationship with his father without either of them knowing the truth. How I had exactly one choice: tell them both and destroy everything, or stay silent and pray they never figured it out. If you've ever watched your past and present collide and realized you had no control over what happened next, stay with me. But to understand how we got here, I need to take you back 3 months. To the day my 13-year-old son told me he'd been accepted into the most competitive youth program in the country. And I had no idea it would lead him straight to his father. It was a Tuesday morning in April. Seattle was doing that thing where it couldn't decide between spring rain and actual sunshine, so it was doing both simultaneously. I was in my home office, reviewing a client proposal, when River burst through the door with an energy that could only mean one of 2 things. He'd either broken something expensive or achieved something extraordinary. Mom, you have to see this. The envelope in his hands was thick, cream-colored, expensive-looking. The kind of envelope that came from institutions that took themselves very seriously. What is it, sweetheart? Open it. Just open it. I took the envelope, noting the return address. Gallagher Industries Youth Innovation Program. My hands froze. River, where did this come from? I applied 3 months ago. Professor Chin helped me with the application. Mom, just open it. Professor Chin was River's gifted program coordinator. The man who'd been telling me since River was 9 years old that my son was exceptionally brilliant, that he needed challenges beyond what regular school could provide. I opened the envelope with trembling fingers, already knowing what it would say, already feeling my carefully constructed world starting to crack. Dear River Ashford, we are pleased to inform you that you have been selected for the Gallagher Industries Youth Innovation Program. Out of over 3,000 applicants nationwide, only 15 students have been chosen. The letter went on to detail the program. 3 months, June through August, working directly with executives and engineers on real projects, mentorship from industry leaders, college-level coursework in technology, business, and innovation. And at the bottom, a personal note: your application essay on ethical technology development was exceptional. I look forward to meeting you personally. Knox Gallagher, CEO. River was bouncing with excitement. Do you see that? Knox Gallagher himself wrote that note. Mom, this is incredible. I looked at my son, at his dark hair that fell into his eyes exactly like his father's, at the sharp jawline he was just starting to grow into, at the intense focus in his eyes when he was excited about something. He looked exactly like Knox had at that age. I'd seen the photos. This is in San Francisco. I know. It's perfect. Only a 2-hour drive, or I could take the train, and the program provides housing in a supervised dorm with the other kids. Mom, this is everything I've been working toward. River had been obsessed with technology and innovation since he was old enough to take apart our toaster to see how it worked. He taught himself coding at 9, built his first app at 11. At 13, he was already taking online college courses in computer science and business strategy. This program was perfect for him, except for one massive, impossible problem. His father ran it. Sweetheart, can we talk about this? Talk about what? Mom, this is the most prestigious youth program in the country. Do you know how many kids would kill for this opportunity? I know, and I'm so proud of you. But San Francisco is far, and you're only 13. The program is supervised. There are chaperones and dorm parents, and a whole security system. Plus, I'd be with other kids my age who actually get me, who think like I think. That last part hit hard. River had always struggled socially. Too smart for his peers, too young for the adults who could match his intellect. He'd spent most of his childhood feeling like he didn't quite fit anywhere. This program would be perfect for him, and I couldn't let him go without telling him why. River, there's something you need to know about Gallagher Industries. What? That it's one of the most innovative tech companies in the world? I know, Mom. That's why I applied. No. About who runs it. Knox Gallagher. I know that too. I've read everything about him. Mom, he's a genius. He built this company from nothing, and he's done it all with ethical principles. He actually cares about using technology to help people, not just make money. My son was describing his father with such admiration, and he had no idea. River, Knox Gallagher, and I knew each other. A long time ago. River's excitement dimmed slightly. You did? How? I worked for his company. Before you were born. Okay. So? So, it might be complicated. Me having a son in his program. Why would it be complicated? You said you worked there like 14 years ago. That's forever. I'm sure he doesn't even remember you. If only that were true. Maybe you're right. I was stalling, trying to figure out how to navigate this. When does the program start? June 15th, in 6 weeks. Mom, please say yes. Please. This is everything I've been dreaming about. I looked at my brilliant, passionate, 13-year-old son and felt my heart break a little, because he deserved this opportunity. He deserved to shine and be challenged and be around people who understood his mind. But he also deserved to know who his father was. And Knox deserved to know he had a son. I just wasn't ready for those truths to collide. Let me think about it, okay? It's a big decision. Mom, there's nothing to think about. This is my future. I need 24 hours. That's all I'm asking. After River left, disappointed but hopeful, I did what I always did when I needed perspective. I called Sienna. Sienna Park had been my best friend since college. She'd been there through everything. The relationship with Knox, the pregnancy, the decision to raise River alone. The years of struggling to build a career while being a single mother. She was also my business partner, which meant she understood both my personal and professional complications. She answered on the second ring. Please tell me you're calling to say yes to the Morrison contract, because that's a 6-figure deal and we need it. River got into the Gallagher Industries youth program. Silence. Then, oh no. Oh yes. Bryn, tell me you're not actually considering letting him go. It's the opportunity of a lifetime, Sienna. He's been working towards something like this for years. At his father's company, where his father will see him every day for 3 months. Knox runs a huge company. The program has 15 kids. There's no guarantee Knox will even interact with them directly. His personal note on River's acceptance letter would suggest otherwise. More silence. I could practically hear Sienna thinking through all the possible disasters. Does River know? That Knox is his father? No. Are you planning to tell him before he goes? I don't know. I don't know anything right now. Bryn, you can't send a 13-year-old into his father's company without telling either of them the truth. That's insane. Is it more insane than telling them and destroying the opportunity? You know what will happen if I tell Knox? He'll either want to be involved in River's life, which will completely upend everything, or he'll think we're after his money. Or he'll be grateful to know he has a son. He had a son for 13 years, and I never told him. You think he's going to be grateful about that? Sienna sighed. What does River know about his father? What I've always told him. That his father and I were together briefly, that it ended before I knew I was pregnant. That it's complicated. Has he ever asked for details? Constantly. Especially the last year or so. He's 13, he's figuring out identity. He wants to know where he comes from. And you've said what? That I'll tell him when he's older, that some things are complicated and timing matters. Well, timing just ran out of time. I know. So what are you going to do? I had no idea, but I had 24 hours to figure it out. That night, after River was asleep, I did something I hadn't done in years. I pulled out the box from the back of my closet, The one I'd kept hidden for 14 years. The one that contained the only physical evidence of my relationship with Knox Gallagher. Inside were photos, letters, a few small gifts, evidence of a love I'd tried very hard to forget. I picked up a photo from a tech conference in Portland. Knox and I laughing at something, his arm around my shoulders. We looked so young, so happy, so completely unaware that in 6 months, our entire relationship would implode. I'd been 21 when I met Knox, fresh out of college, starting my first job as an executive assistant at Gallagher Industries. Knox had been 24, already being groomed to take over the company from his father, Warren. We'd fallen in love fast and hard. The kind of intense, all-consuming love that only happens when you're young enough to believe love conquers everything. We'd been together for 8 months when Warren had sat Knox down and delivered an ultimatum. The company was failing. They needed an infusion of capital. The Castellano family was willing to invest, but only if Knox married their daughter, Iris. An arranged marriage. In the 21st century. It sounded absurd, except it wasn't. It was business, strategy, survival for a company that employed hundreds of people. I'd overheard the argument between Knox and his father. Heard Warren lay out the impossible choice. Marry Iris and save the company, or follow his heart and watch everything his family had built crumble. Knox had been torn apart by it. I could see the agony in his face, the weight of impossible responsibility crushing him. So I'd made the choice for him. I'd left before he had to choose between me and everything else. I'd packed my bags, moved to Seattle, started over. And 2 months later, I'd seen the announcement. Knox Gallagher and Iris Castellano were married in an intimate ceremony in San Francisco. 3 weeks after that, I discovered I was pregnant. I'd thought about telling him. Had picked up the phone a dozen times, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. He just married someone else to save his company. Me showing up pregnant would destroy everything he'd sacrificed for. So I'd raised River alone, built a career in marketing consulting, created a good life for us, and I'd told myself I'd made the right choice. Now I wasn't so sure. My phone buzzed with a text from River. Still awake. Too excited to sleep. Mom, please say yes. I promise I'll be careful and work hard and make you proud. This is my dream. I looked at the photo of Knox and me, young and in love. Then at my phone, at my brilliant son, begging for a chance to pursue his passion. And I made a decision. The next morning, I told River he could accept the program. His shout of joy could probably be heard in Portland. But I also made a decision for myself. I had 6 weeks before the program started, 6 weeks to figure out how to tell River who his father was. And maybe, just maybe, 6 weeks to prepare myself for the possibility of seeing Knox again. What I didn't know was that River had plans of his own. 2 weeks before the program started, River came to me with something I wasn't expecting. Mom, can I ask you something? Always. My father, the one you won't talk about, was he Knox Gallagher? The question hit me like a physical blow. What? Why would you think that? Because I found this. He held up the photo I'd been looking at. The one from the tech conference. I was looking for tape in your office and found the box. River, you shouldn't have been going through my things. I know, I'm sorry. But Mom, that's Knox Gallagher. I've seen enough photos to recognize him, and you're together. And you worked at his company. And this photo is from like 14 years ago. The math adding up in his brilliant, 13-year-old brain. Is he my father? I could have lied, should have lied. Bought myself more time to figure out how to handle this. But I looked at my son, at the intelligence and honesty in his eyes, and I couldn't. Yes, Knox Gallagher is your father. River's expression was complicated, not happy, not sad, just processing. Does he know about me? No? Why not? Because when I found out I was pregnant, he'd just gotten married to someone else. I didn't want to complicate his life. So you just never told him? For 13 years? I thought I was protecting you. And him? From what? From a complicated situation. From you being the illegitimate child people whispered about. From him feeling obligated to be in your life out of duty instead of desire. River was quiet for a long moment. Is that why you didn't want me to do the program? Because you didn't want me to meet him? Partly. But also because I was afraid of what would happen when he saw you. What do you mean? River, you look exactly like him. The moment Knox sees you, He's going to know. Good. The single word, delivered with calm certainty. Good? River, this isn't good. This is complicated. No, Mom. Complicated is spending 13 years wondering who your father is. Complicated is making up stories about why he's not around. Good is finally having a chance to meet him. Even if he doesn't know that's what's happening. River's expression shifted to something that made him look much older than 13. I want him to know me first. Not as his obligation. Not as the son who showed up out of nowhere, but as me. As River. And then, when he knows who I am and what I'm capable of, then we can tell him the truth. That's manipulative. That's strategic. There's a difference. You're 13 years old. You shouldn't have to be strategic about meeting your father. But I do. Because if I show up and you tell him immediately who I am, everything changes. He'll see me differently. Judge me differently. Wonder if I'm smart, or if he just thinks I'm smart because I'm his son. River, that's not how it works. Isn't it? Mom, I've read about Knox Gallagher. He's brilliant, and he's accomplished, and he's successful. If I want him to respect me, I need him to see me for who I am first. This is a terrible idea. This is the only idea. Mom, please, let me do the program. Let me meet him as just River, one of the kids in his program. Then, at the end of 3 months, we'll tell him the truth together. And if he figures it out before then, if he sees the resemblance and puts it together, then we'll deal with it when it happens. But I don't think he will. Why not? Because he doesn't know I exist. Why would he look at some random 13-year-old kid and think that's my son? He has no reason to suspect. River, this is too complicated. Too many things could go wrong. Or everything could go right. I could meet my father, learn from him, build a relationship with him. And then, when he knows me, we tell him the truth and he realizes he has an amazing son instead of just some kid looking for his money. I stared at my 13-year-old son, who somehow had the emotional intelligence of someone 3 times his age. How did you get so smart? Good genetics. From both sides, apparently. Despite everything, I laughed. If we do this, and that's a massive if, there are rules. Okay. First, you don't lie to him. If he asks you direct questions about your family, you tell him the truth. Okay. Second, if at any point this gets too complicated or too hard, you tell me and we figure it out together. Deal. And third, at the end of 3 months, we tell him. Together, no matter what. River nodded solemnly. I promise. And I made what was possibly the worst decision of my life. Okay. You can do the program. But River, if this blows up in our faces, don't say I didn't warn you. He hugged me tight. Thank you, Mom. I won't mess this up. That was 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks that passed in a blur of preparation and anxiety, and watching my son get more excited about something than I'd ever seen him. And then yesterday, I'd gotten the call. Bryn Ashford? Yes? This is Megan Hartley from Gallagher Industries. I'm calling about a potential consulting contract. I'm sorry. I think there's been some confusion. I don't typically work with tech companies. We acquired Morrison Media 6 months ago. They contracted with your firm for a brand refresh. We'd like to continue that work. My stomach dropped. Morrison Media had been bought by Gallagher Industries, and I hadn't known? I see. When would you need me to start? We're having a celebration dinner tomorrow night for our Youth Innovation Program students. It would be the perfect opportunity to meet the team and discuss the scope of work. Can you make it? Tomorrow night. The same night River would be there. The same night Knox would be there. I should have said no. Should have referred them to Sienna. Should have made up an excuse. Should have done anything except what I did. I'll be there. And now here I was, standing in the lobby of Gallagher Industries, watching my son descend in an elevator with his father, both of them laughing like they'd known each other for years instead of hours. Miss Ashford? I tore my eyes away from Knox and River to see a young woman in a crisp suit approaching me. I'm Megan Hartley. Thank you for coming on such short notice. Of course. Happy to be here. Liar. I was many things, but happy wasn't one of them. The celebration dinner is on the top floor. Mr. Gallagher will meet you there. He's just finishing up with the program students. Perfect. I followed Megan to the elevator, my heart pounding so hard I was sure she could hear it. The elevator rose smoothly, efficiently, giving me a panoramic view of San Francisco through the glass walls. Somewhere in this building, River was meeting his father, building a relationship I'd specifically tried to prevent. And I was about to walk into a room where I'd have to face Knox Gallagher for the first time in 14 years. The elevator doors opened onto a stunning rooftop venue, floor-to-ceiling windows on 3 sides. The 4th wall opened onto a terrace with views of the bay. Inside, about 50 people mingled with drinks and conversation. And there, at the center of everything, was Knox. 14 years had changed him. He was 38 now, no longer the 24-year-old I'd fallen in love with. His dark hair had silver threading through it. Lines bracketed his eyes and mouth. He looked tired. Successful, certainly. Powerful, but tired. He was talking to a small group that included several teenagers, the program students, and right next to him, looking up with rapt attention, was River. My son was talking to his father, and neither of them knew. Miss Ashford? Megan was looking at me expectantly. I'm sorry, what? I asked if you'd like a drink while you wait for Mr. Gallagher to finish with the students. Yes, please, anything. She flagged down a server, and I took a glass of wine I had no intention of drinking. I just needed something to do with my hands. Knox was making his way through the room now, stopping to talk to different groups. He moved with easy confidence, the kind that came from years of being in charge. Every few minutes, he'd laugh at something someone said, and the sound of it hit me in the chest. I'd forgotten what his laugh sounded like. He was getting closer now. Any moment, he'd see me, and I still had no idea what I was going to say. Then River looked up and our eyes met across the room. I saw the moment of panic cross his face. He hadn't expected me to be here. I mouthed, "Are you okay?" He nodded, but his expression said we'd be talking about this later. Knox said something to the group, and everyone laughed. River's laugh joined theirs, and I watched Knox look at my son with something that made my chest hurt. Pride. Knox was looking at River with pride. And then Knox turned, following the direction River had been looking, and his eyes met mine. I watched the recognition hit him, watched his expression go from polite professionalism to shock to something I couldn't quite read. He said something to the group, then started walking toward me. 14 years. 14 years since I'd seen him, since I'd talked to him, since I'd made the choice to walk away. And now he was crossing the room with purpose in his stride, and I had exactly 10 seconds to figure out what to say to the man who didn't know he'd spent the last 3 hours bonding with his son. Bryn. My name and his voice after all these years. Knox. We stood 3 feet apart, the crowd moving around us, both of us frozen in the moment. I didn't know you'd be here. Last-minute invitation. I understand you acquired Morrison Media. 6 months ago. I didn't realize they'd contracted with your firm. They did. For a brand refresh. Silence stretched between us, loaded with 14 years of unspoken words. You look good. So do you. More silence. Knox, I should explain why I'm here. You're here for a consultation, Megan explained. Right. But I didn't know about the youth program celebration. If I'd known, I wouldn't have. Wouldn't have what? Come, intruded, made this awkward. Knox's expression shifted to something softer. You're not intruding. And awkward is my fault, not yours. Before I could respond, River appeared at Knox's elbow. Mr. Gallagher, sorry to interrupt, but Dr. Chen is asking about the lab tour tomorrow. Knox turned to River with a smile, completely unaware that he was looking at his son. Tell him 9 a.m. And River, I told you to call me Knox. Mr. Gallagher makes me feel ancient. River grinned. Okay, Knox. Knox's hand landed on River's shoulder, casual and familiar. The gesture made my throat tight. Have you eaten? The catering staff set up an amazing spread. Not yet. Go, eat, you're 13. You should be eating everything in sight. River laughed. Yes, sir. I mean Knox. He started to walk away, then paused. Oh, and Knox, thank you for this program, for believing in us. It means everything. Knox's expression went soft in a way I'd never seen before. You kids are the future. It's my job to make sure you're ready for it. After River left, Knox turned back to me. Smart kid. Brilliant, actually. In 3 hours, he's already impressed half my engineering team. He's always been exceptional. You know him? The question hung in the air, loaded with danger. I know his type. gifted kids who don't quite fit in regular school. Knox nodded. He mentioned something about that. Said he's been in gifted programs since elementary school. My pulse was racing. We were talking about our son, and Knox had no idea. Knox, there's something I need to tell you. Before I could continue, a woman in a designer dress appeared at Knox's side. She was beautiful in a sharp, calculated way. Her hand went possessively to Knox's arm. Darling, the board members are asking for you. Knox's expression shifted to something cooler, more distant. Bryn, this is Fallon Wells. Fallon, this is Bryn Ashford. She's consulting on the Morrison rebrand. Fallon's eyes assessed me with the precision of someone who viewed other women as threats or allies, nothing in between. How nice. Knox, they're really quite insistent. I'll be there in a moment. Fallon's smile didn't reach her eyes. I'm sure Miss Ashford understands that business comes first. She walked away, leaving a trail of expensive perfume. I'm sorry about that. Girlfriend? Something like that. I had no right to the jealousy that flared in my chest. No claim on Knox after 14 years, but it was there anyway, hot and unwelcome. You should go. I don't want to keep you from important conversations. The board members can wait. Bryn, you said you needed to tell me something? This was the moment. I could tell him about River right now. Get it over with. Deal with the consequences. But I looked across the room and saw River talking animatedly with another student, looking happier and more engaged than I'd seen him in years. And I thought about what he'd asked for. 3 months. Just 3 months to build a relationship with his father before everything got complicated. It can wait. It's not urgent. Knox studied my face like he was trying to read between the lines. Are you sure? Because you look like something's wrong. I'm sure. We can talk about it later. Knox, darling. Fallon's voice carried across the room, sharp with impatience. Go. Really. I'll be fine. Knox hesitated, then nodded. We should have dinner, catch up properly. It's been too long. 14 years. 14 years. His expression shifted to something sad. Far too long. After he left, I found a quiet corner and tried to calm my racing heart. Across the room, Knox was talking to board members, playing the role of CEO with practiced ease. And nearby, River was laughing with other students, completely in his element. My phone buzzed. A text from Sienna. How's it going? I just watched our son bond with his father, while his father has no idea who he is, so about as well as expected. Did Knox see you? Yes. And we had an awkward 30-second conversation before his girlfriend interrupted. He has a girlfriend? Apparently. How do you feel about that? Like I have no right to feel anything after 14 years. But you feel something anyway. I looked across the room at Knox, at the life he'd built without me, at the man he'd become. Yeah, I feel something. I just don't know what. The dinner portion of the evening started, and I found myself seated at a table with several Gallagher executives. Knox was at the head table with board members and VIPs. River was at a table with the other program students, looking completely at ease. I watched them both throughout dinner. Watched Knox give a speech about innovation and the future, and how the youth program represented everything he believed in. Watched River hang on every word, pride and admiration clear on his face. This was what I'd been trying to prevent. This exact scenario. My son falling for his father's charm and vision, building a relationship that would inevitably be complicated when the truth came out. But I'd also never seen River so happy, so engaged, so completely himself. Maybe River had been right. Maybe Knox needed to know him as a person first. Maybe that would make the revelation better instead of worse. Or maybe I was just making excuses for not having the courage to tell the truth. After dinner, people mingled again. I was talking to a marketing VP about campaign strategies when I felt someone watching me. I looked up to see Knox across the room, his eyes on me instead of the board member he was supposed to be listening to. Our eyes met, and for a moment, it was 14 years ago, when we'd been young and in love and the world had seemed full of possibility. Then Fallon appeared at his side again, breaking the moment. I looked away, my heart doing complicated things I didn't want to examine. The evening was winding down when River approached me carefully. Hey, Mom. Hey yourself. Having fun? The best night of my life. Knox is incredible. He really listens when we talk, like, actually listens. And he's funny and smart, and he remembers everything we say, and Mom, I really like him. I'm glad, sweetheart. Are you mad that I'm here? That you ran into each other? No, surprised but not mad. Did you talk to him? Briefly. Are you going to tell him? River, I don't know. This is so complicated. Please don't. Not yet. Let me have this. Let me have 3 months of him knowing me without everything being weird and complicated. I looked at my 13-year-old son, so desperate for his father's attention and approval. How could I say no to that? 3 months. That's all you get. Then we tell him together. Deal. River hugged me quickly, then ran back to his friends. I gathered my things and prepared to leave. I'd made it through the evening without any major disasters. That counted as a win. I was waiting for the elevator when I heard footsteps behind me. Running out on me again? I turned to see Knox approaching, hands in his pockets, expression unreadable. Not running, just leaving. The event is over. Is it? Because it feels like we have about 14 years of conversation to catch up on. Knox, I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Are you married? Involved with someone? No. Then have dinner with me. Tomorrow night. Let's talk like adults instead of strangers. What would we even talk about? How about why you left? Why you disappeared completely? Why I spent 2 years trying to find you? The last part hit me hard. You looked for me? Of course I looked for you. Bryn, you were everything to me. Then you just vanished. You got married 2 months after I left. Because I thought you didn't want me. Because you blocked my calls, changed your number, moved cities. What was I supposed to think? The elevator arrived, doors opening. I have to go. Dinner, tomorrow, 7 p.m., please. I stepped into the elevator. I'll think about it. The doors closed on Knox's hopeful expression. On the ride down, I leaned against the glass wall and tried to breathe. 14 years of avoiding this exact situation. And now I was right back where I started. In love with a man who didn't know he had a son. A son who was building a relationship with his father based on partial truths. This was going to end badly. I could feel it. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. It's Knox. Holden gave me your number. 7 p.m. tomorrow. I'll pick you up. We're doing this whether you're ready or not. I stared at the text, my heart racing. Another text, and Bryn, I never stopped looking for you. Even after I got married, even after I got divorced. I never stopped. I closed my eyes, 14 years of carefully constructed walls crumbling with every word. How was I supposed to keep this secret for 3 more months when Knox was looking at me like that? When River was bonding with his father? When everything I'd tried to prevent was happening anyway? I texted back, fine, dinner. But we're meeting at the restaurant. I'll choose the place. Deal, send me the address. I will. And Bryn? What? It's good to see you again. I've missed you. I stared at those 3 words. I've missed you. After 14 years. After everything. He'd missed me. I'd missed him too. But I couldn't say it. Couldn't open that door. So I didn't respond. The next morning, River called from the program dorms. Mom, you have to hear about what we did yesterday. After the dinner, Knox took a few of us to the robotics lab and showed us the new AI integration project. It was incredible. That sounds amazing, sweetheart. And Mom? He asked about my family. About you. My heart stopped. What did you tell him? The truth. That you raised me alone. That you're a marketing consultant. That you're amazing and strong and you gave me everything. Did he say anything? He got this weird look on his face, like he was sad. Then he said I was lucky to have a mother who believed in me. Oh. Mom? Do you think he suspects? I don't know. Maybe. You do look a lot like him. But he didn't say anything? No, not yet. After we hung up, I sat in my office staring at nothing. Sienna walked in with coffee, and the no-nonsense expression she wore when she was about to give me advice, I didn't want to hear. You're having dinner with him tonight. How did you know? Because you have that look. The one you get when you're about to do something terrifying. I'm meeting Knox at 7. To tell him about River? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Bryn. I know I should tell him. But River asked for 3 months. And maybe he's right. Maybe Knox should know River as a person first. Or maybe you're making excuses because you're scared. Of course, I'm scared. In 14 years, I've built a life that doesn't include Knox Gallagher. And now he's back, and he's texting me that he never stopped looking for me, and River is bonding with him, and everything is falling apart. Or everything is finally falling together. What? Think about it. River gets to know his father, Knox gets to know his son, and you get a second chance with the man you never stopped loving. I don't love him. Liar. I don't. I can't. It's been 14 years. Then tonight should be easy. Just two old friends catching up. Except we were never just friends. No, you were the love of each other's lives. And maybe you still are. I spent the rest of the day trying not to think about the dinner. Trying not to overthink what I'd wear, or what I'd say, or how I'd navigate 3 hours of conversation without mentioning the massive secret sitting between us. At 6:30, I was in front of my closet, my third outfit choice on the bed, when my phone rang. River's dorm counselor. My heart immediately jumped to worst-case scenarios. Miss Ashford? Yes? Is River okay? He's fine, but there's been a small incident. Nothing serious, but I thought you should know. What happened? River and another student had a disagreement. It got heated. Some things were said. River asked if he could call you. Put him on. A moment later, River's voice came through, thick with emotion. Mom? What happened, sweetheart? One of the other kids, Tyler, he was being a jerk. Saying stuff about how the program was just a PR stunt and Knox didn't really care about us. Okay. And I told him he was wrong. That Knox is genuine, and he really does care. And Tyler said I was naive, and how would I even know? River, you can't let other kids' opinions bother you. But then he said something about how Knox probably has kids of his own he cares about more than us anyway. My breath caught. And I said he didn't have kids, that he focused all his attention on the company and programs like this. And Tyler said, how did I know so much about Knox's personal life unless I was some kind of stalker? Oh, River. I got mad, Mom. I said some things I shouldn't have. And now I'm in trouble, and I might get kicked out of the program, and I ruined everything. You're not getting kicked out. I'll talk to the counselor. But what if Knox finds out? What if he thinks I'm some weird kid who's obsessed with him? River, listen to me. You're allowed to admire someone you respect. You didn't do anything wrong except let your emotions get the better of you. That's called being 13. But I need to be perfect. I need Knox to think I'm mature and responsible. Why? The question seemed to surprise him. Because I want him to like me. He already likes you, sweetheart. You don't have to be perfect for that. But when he finds out who I really am, everything will change. Unless I've already proven I'm worth knowing. And there it was. The real fear. River, you are worth knowing. You always have been. Not because of who your father is, but because of who you are. I don't want him to be disappointed when he finds out. He won't be. I promise. After I talked to the counselor and confirmed River wouldn't be kicked out of the program, I looked at the clock. 6:55. I was supposed to meet Knox in 5 minutes. I texted him, running late. Family emergency. Can we push to 8? His response was immediate. Everything okay? Yes. Just needed to handle something. No problem. 8 works. Same place? Yes. I used the extra hour to calm down, finish getting ready, and remind myself that I could do this. I could have dinner with Knox without revealing everything. I could keep River's secret for 3 more months. I could survive seeing the man I'd never stopped loving without falling apart completely. The restaurant I'd chosen was quiet, intimate, away from downtown, somewhere we could talk without running into people Knox knew. I arrived first, deliberately early, and chose a table in the back corner. When Knox walked in at exactly 8 p.m., wearing dark jeans and a button-down shirt that made him look younger than 38, I felt my carefully constructed composure wobble. He smiled when he saw me. That same smile that had made me fall in love with him 14 years ago. This was going to be harder than I thought. Knox slid into the seat across from me, and for a moment, we just looked at each other. Hi. Hi yourself. You look nervous. I'm terrified. The honesty seemed to surprise him. Of me? Of this? Of talking about the past? Of everything that went wrong? Then maybe we should talk about everything that went right first. What went right? Us. before it all fell apart. Bryn, we were good together. We were young. We were in love. Past tense. Is it past tense? The question hung between us, loaded with more meaning than I was ready to handle. Knox, it's been 14 years. We're different people now. Are we? Because sitting here with you, I feel exactly like I did at 24. Terrified and hopeful, and completely out of my depth. You're a billionaire CEO. You're never out of your depth. I was with you. You made me feel things I couldn't control. It was terrifying. Is. Present tense, you still terrify me. The waiter arrived, giving me a moment to collect myself. We ordered wine and appetizers neither of us would eat. After he left, Knox leaned forward. Tell me about your life. The last 14 years. Everything I missed. If you believe in facing your past even when it terrifies you, leave a comment below. Tell me about a time you had to confront someone you'd been avoiding. Share this with someone who knows that some conversations can't be postponed forever. And subscribe, because what happens at this dinner will change everything. The secrets that come out, the truths that can't be hidden, the moment when everything Bryn has been protecting falls apart. Because sometimes you can't save everyone. Sometimes keeping a secret for 3 months is impossible. And sometimes the truth has a way of coming out exactly when you're trying hardest to hide it. There's more to this story. So much more. And it all starts with one question Knox is about to ask that Bryn can't answer without revealing everything. Tell me about your life. The last 14 years. Everything I missed. I looked at Knox across the candlelit table and felt the weight of that question. How do you summarize 14 years without mentioning the most important thing? How do you talk about your life when your son is the center of it, and that son is sitting at the center of the secret you're keeping? I've been building a marketing consultancy. Started small, just me working out of my apartment. Now I have a partner, Sienna, and we've built a solid client base. Impressive. I've actually heard of your firm. Didn't make the connection until I saw your name on the Morrison contract. You've heard of us? Bryn, you're one of the top boutique consultancies in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, I've heard of you. The pride in his voice did something to my chest that I didn't want to examine. What about you? Billionaire CEO seems like a significant upgrade from where you were at 24. Knox's expression darkened slightly. I built what my father wanted. Saved the company. Grew it into something massive, and I was miserable for most of it. The arranged marriage didn't work out? We divorced 10 years ago. Turns out marrying someone for business reasons doesn't actually create a lasting relationship. I'm sorry. Don't be. Iris and I were never in love. We both knew what the marriage was. When it became clear, it wasn't necessary anymore. We ended it amicably. And since then? Since then, I've dated, had relationships. Nothing that stuck, nothing that felt real. What about Fallon? She seemed pretty attached last night. Fallon is convenient. We attend events together. She understands the business world, but it's not serious. Does she know that? Knox's pause told me everything I needed to know. We've talked about expectations. She knows I'm not looking for marriage or commitment. That's not the same as knowing it's not serious. Maybe not. Our wine arrived, giving us both a moment to regroup. I took a sip, letting the smooth red calm my nerves. Can I ask you something? Knox's voice was quieter now. Depends on the question. Why did you leave? Really? I know my father gave me the ultimatum about marrying Iris. I know the situation was impossible, but Bryn, you didn't even give me a chance to fight for you. The accusation in his voice was gentle, but unmistakable. You were saving your company. 800 people's jobs depended on that marriage. What was I supposed to do? Make you choose between me and all of that? You were supposed to trust me to make my own choices. You would have chosen wrong. How do you know? Because I knew you, Knox. You were drowning in responsibility and family obligation and the weight of generations of expectations. Adding my needs to that equation would have crushed you. So you chose for me. I chose to not be another burden you had to carry. You weren't a burden, Bryn. You were the only good thing in my life. And you took yourself away before I could tell you that. The pain in his voice matched the pain I'd carried for 14 years. I thought I was doing the right thing. Did you? Or were you just scared? The question was too close to what Sienna had asked. Too close to the truth I'd been avoiding. Maybe both. Knox leaned back in his chair, studying me. What happened to you after you left? Where did you go? Seattle. I had a friend from college there. She let me stay with her while I figured things out. And then? Then I got a job. Started building a life. Alone? The question was loaded. Yes, alone. It was true. I had been alone. Just not in the way Knox thought. I looked for you. Knox's voice was rough with emotion. For 2 years, I searched. Hired investigators. Followed every lead. You disappeared completely. I changed a lot of things. Made it hard to be found. Because you didn't want to be found by me. Because I thought it was better for both of us. Were you right? I looked at Knox, really looked at him. At the man he'd become, the sadness in his eyes. The weariness that came from years of building something massive while feeling empty inside. I don't know. I gave you freedom to build your empire without complications. I built an empire and had no one to share it with. You had Iris. I had a business partner with a marriage license. And after the divorce? After the divorce, I kept building, kept working, told myself I was happy. That success was enough. But it wasn't. No. Knox met my eyes. It wasn't. Because the only person I wanted to share it with was gone. Knox, don't. Why not? It's the truth. Bryn, I spent 14 years trying to forget you. Tried to fall in love with other people. Tried to convince myself that what we had wasn't that special. And I failed. Every single time, I failed. This isn't fair. What isn't fair is that you're sitting 3 feet away from me, and I still can't have you. You have Fallon. I don't want Fallon. I never wanted anyone but you. The intensity in his voice made it hard to breathe. 14 years, Knox. You can't just pick up where we left off. Can I? Because right now, looking at you, it feels like no time has passed at all. Everything has passed. We're different people with different lives. Then tell me about your life. The parts I don't know. The things that changed you. This was dangerous territory. But maybe if I gave him some truth, he'd stop pushing for the truth I couldn't give. I learned to be independent, to not need anyone, to build something that was entirely mine. That sounds lonely. It was, but it was also empowering. I learned that I was stronger than I thought. You were always strong. You just didn't know it yet. The faith in his voice undid me a little. Our food arrived, and we ate in silence for a few minutes. The restaurant was filling up around us, but I barely noticed. My entire world had narrowed to the man across from me, and the secrets I was keeping from him. Can I ask about something specific? Knox said finally. I braced myself. Okay. The Youth Innovation Program. One of the kids, River Ashford. You seemed to know him last night. My heart stopped. I know of him. Gifted kids are my soft spot. I like seeing them get opportunities. He's exceptional. In 3 days, he's already impressed everyone on my team. He sounds brilliant. He is, but there's something about him. Knox paused, and I held my breath. He reminds me of someone, and I can't figure out who. Maybe he just has one of those faces. Maybe. Knox was still studying me. His last name is Ashford, same as yours. It's not an uncommon name. True, but he's from Seattle, same as you. Knox, what are you asking? I'm asking if there's a connection I'm missing, because my instincts are telling me there's something you're not saying. This was it. The moment I could tell him, should tell him. Before this went any further and the truth became a betrayal instead of a revelation. But I looked at Knox, at the hope and hurt in his eyes, and I thought about River's request. 3 months. Just 3 months to build a relationship before everything got complicated. River is in your program because he's brilliant and he deserves the opportunity. That's the only connection. Knox studied my face like he was trying to read between the lines. Then he nodded slowly. Okay. I believe you. Except I could tell he didn't. Not completely. We finished dinner making small talk about safer topics. His company's new projects. My upcoming campaigns. The Seattle weather versus San Francisco's. All of it surface level. All of it avoiding the weight of what we weren't saying. When the check came, Knox grabbed it before I could. I can pay for my own dinner. I know you can. But I asked you here. Let me do this. After he paid, we walked out into the cool San Francisco night. The restaurant was in North Beach, and the streets were alive with people and music and the energy that made this city feel electric. Can I walk you to your car? Knox asked. I took an Uber. Then can I drive you home? Or to your hotel? I'm staying with Sienna. She has a place in the Mission. I know where the Mission is. Let me drive you. Knox, this isn't a good idea. Why not? Because you might actually enjoy my company? Because I already enjoy your company. That's the problem. The admission slipped out before I could stop it. Knox's expression shifted to something warm and hopeful. That's a problem? It complicates things. Things have been complicated for 14 years. At least now we're in the same city. For 3 months. Then I go back to Seattle. 3 months is better than nothing. We started walking toward the parking garage, the night air cool against my skin. Knox walked close enough that our arms occasionally brushed, sending electricity through me every time. Bryn, can I ask you something? You've been asking me things all night. This is important. Okay. Are you happy? In Seattle, with your life, with everything you've built, are you happy? The question was so unexpected, so raw, that I answered honestly. I have a good life. I'm proud of what I've accomplished, but happy? I don't know if I've been truly happy since I left San Francisco. Why not? Because I left my heart here. The confession hung between us, too honest, too revealing. Knox stopped walking. We were in front of the parking garage, streetlights casting shadows across his face. Then stay. Stay in San Francisco. Build your life here. I can't just uproot everything. Why not? Your business partner is here. You have the Morrison contract here. In Bryn, I'm here. That's exactly why I can't stay. Why? Because you're scared of what might happen? Because I'm terrified of what definitely will happen. What will happen? I'll fall in love with you again. And then what? We try this again, and it works for a while, and then real life intervenes, and we remember why it didn't work the first time? Or we try again, and we get it right this time. Because we're not kids anymore. We know what we want. Do we? I do. I want you. I've wanted you for 14 years. Knox stepped closer, and I could smell his cologne, the same one he'd worn when we were young. Tell me you don't want this too. Look me in the eye and tell me you don't feel this. I can't. Why not? Because it would be a lie. Then stop lying. Stop running. Give us a chance. It's not that simple. It is that simple. Unless there's something you're not telling me. My heart pounded. This was another chance to tell him. To reveal River's existence and deal with the consequences. But my phone buzzed before I could speak. A text from River. Mom, I know you're with him. Don't tell him yet. Please. I need more time. How did he know? Then I remembered. River was brilliant. He'd probably figured out that I'd be having dinner with Knox. Had probably been anxious about it all night. I have to go. I texted back quickly. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. Just getting late. Knox was watching me with concern. Everything all right? Yes. Just Sienna, checking on me. It's barely 10. She worries. Knox looked like he didn't quite believe me, but he didn't push. Let me drive you. I called an Uber already. It's almost here. Why number 3 tonight? I was racking them up. Then I'll wait with you. We stood on the street, close but not touching, while I pretended to wait for a car that wasn't coming. Knox, tonight was complicated? He smiled. You seem to use that word a lot. Because my life is complicated. Mine too, but I think we could uncomplicate it together. How? By being honest, by not running, by giving this a real chance instead of letting fear win. You make it sound easy. It's not easy. Nothing worth having ever is. But Bryn, I lost you once. I'm not losing you again without a fight. Before I could respond, a car pulled up. Not my Uber, Knox's driver. I didn't call for you, he said to the driver. Miss Wells did, sir. She said you might need a ride. Fallon, of course. Knox's jaw tightened with irritation. I should go, I said quickly, before this gets more complicated. Too late for that. But he didn't stop me as I waved down an actual Uber and climbed in. Through the rear window, I watched Knox standing on the street, hands in his pockets, watching my car drive away. Just like I'd done 14 years ago. Running from the man I loved because staying felt impossible. The Uber dropped me at Sienna's loft in the Mission. She was waiting with wine and questions. How bad was it? Worse than bad. He basically told me he's still in love with me. And you said? Nothing. I ran away. Again. Grinned. I know. But what was I supposed to do? Tell him I love him too? Tell him I've been raising his son for 13 years? Blow up his entire world? Eventually, yes. That's exactly what you're going to have to do. River asked me not to. He texted during dinner. So now you're taking relationship advice from a 13-year-old? He's smart for his age. He's 13. Sienna sat down next to me. Bryn, you can't keep this secret for 3 months. It's going to come out. And when it does, it's going to destroy any chance you have of rebuilding something with Knox. Maybe there shouldn't be a chance. Maybe the universe is telling me to leave well enough alone. Or maybe the universe is giving you a second chance, and you're too scared to take it. I'm not scared. Liar. I buried my face in my hands. Okay, I'm terrified. I'm terrified of telling Knox and having him hate me. I'm terrified of River being disappointed. I'm terrified of trying with Knox again and having it fall apart. I'm terrified of everything. So what are you going to do? Survive the next 3 months and hope nothing explodes before then. Sienna's look said she thought I was being an idiot. She was probably right. The next morning, I got a text from Knox. Thank you for dinner. I know it was hard, but I meant what I said. I'm not giving up on us. I stared at the message, trying to figure out how to respond. What do you say to a man who's declaring his intentions when you're keeping his child a secret from him? I settled on, last night was nice, but Knox, we need to be realistic about what's possible. His response was immediate. The only thing limiting what's possible is fear. And I refuse to let fear win this time. Before I could respond, another text came through. Also, I'm giving River my personal mentorship. He's too talented to waste in the general program. Thought you'd want to know, since you seem to care about gifted kids. My stomach dropped. Personal mentorship, which meant more time together. More bonding. More chances for Knox to figure out the truth. This was spiraling out of control. I called River immediately. Mom, before you freak out, this is a good thing. Knox is personally mentoring you? Yes. It's an incredible opportunity. Only 1 kid per year gets chosen for this. River, this increases the chances of him figuring out who you are. Mom, he's had 3 days to figure it out, and he hasn't. I look like him, and he still doesn't see it. That's because he has no reason to suspect. But the more time you spend together, the more we bond. The more he knows me as a person. Mom, this is exactly what I wanted. By the time we tell him, he'll already love me. And if he's angry about the deception, then we'll deal with it together. You promised me 3 months. I know. You're scared. I get it. But Mom, he's amazing. He really listens when I talk. He treats me like I'm smart instead of like I'm some kid who doesn't understand things. He's everything I hoped he'd be. The joy in River's voice was undeniable. How could I take that away from him? Okay, 3 months. But River, the second this gets too complicated, we tell him. Deal? Deal. After we hung up, I sat in Sienna's guest room trying to figure out how this had all gone so wrong so fast. I'd come to San Francisco for a simple consulting job. Now I was having dinners with my ex who still loved me, while my son was being personally mentored by his father who didn't know he existed. My phone buzzed again. Knox. Dinner tomorrow night? Same time, different place? I know a great Italian spot in Russian Hill. I should say no. Should establish boundaries. Should protect myself and River and everyone from the inevitable disaster. But I texted back, okay. But Knox, we need to talk about expectations. His response, the only expectation I have is honesty. Can you give me that? Guilt twisted in my chest. Because no, I couldn't give him honesty. Not yet. Not while River was building a relationship with the father he'd never known. I can try. Good enough. See you tomorrow at 7. The next 4 weeks passed in a blur of dinners with Knox and phone calls with River. Every dinner, Knox and I danced around the truth, getting closer but never quite crossing the line from friendship to something more. Every phone call, River told me more about his bonding with Knox, making it harder and harder to find the right moment to reveal the truth. By week 5, things had progressed in ways I hadn't anticipated. Knox and I had fallen into an easy rhythm, dinner twice a week, long conversations that stretched into early morning hours, walks along the waterfront where our hands would brush but never quite hold. We talked about everything except the one thing that mattered: our relationship, what we were doing, where this was going. And River had become Knox's protege in the truest sense. Knox took him to board meetings, let him sit in on executive sessions, taught him everything about running a company with integrity and vision. "Mom, he let me present to the board today," River told me during one of our nightly calls, "my idea for an ethical AI framework." And they listened. They actually listened to a 13-year-old kid. "That's amazing, sweetheart." He told me afterward that I reminded him of himself at my age, that I had the same passion for using technology to help people. The irony wasn't lost on me. Knox saw himself in River, because River was literally his son. "How much longer are you going to let this go on?" I could practically hear Sienna's voice in my head. But every time I thought about telling Knox, something would happen to make me wait. In week 6, Knox invited me to a charity gala. A real date, not just dinner. "I know we've been taking things slow," he said, "but I want to be seen with you. I want people to know that you're important to me." "Knox, I'm only here for another 6 weeks. Then we make the most of the time we have. Come to the gala with me, please." I said yes. Because I was weak, because I was falling for him all over again, because some part of me wanted to believe this could work. The gala was at a museum downtown, full of San Francisco's elite. Knox introduced me to everyone as Bryn Ashford, brilliant marketing consultant, strategically leaving out the part where I was his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his secret child. Fallon was there, dressed to kill and looking at me like she wanted to commit murder. She cornered me at the bar halfway through the evening. "You're wasting your time, you know?" "Excuse me?" "Knox, he's not the commitment type. I've been with him for 2 years, and he won't even discuss moving in together." "Then maybe you're not right for each other." Fallon's laugh was sharp and cold. "And you think you are? Some consultant from Seattle, who he's known for what, 6 weeks? I've actually known Knox a lot longer than that." Her expression shifted to calculation. "How much longer?" "Long enough to know that whatever you think you have with him isn't real." I walked away before she could respond, but the damage was done. Fallon now knew there was history between Knox and me. And if there was one thing I'd learned about ambitious socialites, it was that they didn't let potential threats go uninvestigated. Knox found me on the terrace, looking out at the city lights. "Fallon corner you? Is it that obvious?" "She's not subtle." Knox stood beside me, close enough that I could feel his warmth. "I'm sorry. I should have ended things with her properly, before I started pursuing you again." "Are you pursuing me?" "Absolutely. I thought that was clear." "Knox, this is complicated." "You keep saying that." "Because it keeps being true." He turned to face me fully. "What would make it less complicated? What do you need from me?" "I need you to understand that I can't just jump back into this like no time has passed." "I'm not asking you to jump. I'm asking you to take one step, then another, see where we end up. And if we end up in the same place we did before, heartbroken and apart, then at least we tried. At least we didn't spend the rest of our lives wondering what if." Before I could respond, before I could tell him all the reasons this was a terrible idea, Knox kissed me. It was soft and tentative, a question more than a statement. And God help me, I answered it. I kissed him back, 14 years of longing and regret and love pouring into that one moment. When we broke apart, Knox's eyes were intense with emotion. "Tell me you don't feel this. Tell me this isn't real." "I can't." "Then stop running. Stop making excuses. Take a chance on us." "I want to. But Knox, there are things you don't know. Things I need to tell you." "So tell me." This was it. The moment. I could tell him about River right now. Get it over with. Deal with the consequences. But my phone buzzed with a text. "River. Mom, Knox is taking me to the gala next week. As his guest. He wants to introduce me to people in the industry. This is huge." I looked at the text, then at Knox's hopeful expression, and felt the moment slip away. "Tomorrow. I'll tell you tomorrow. Over dinner." "Okay. Tomorrow." But tomorrow came and went without the revelation, because River called in a panic. "Mom, I messed up." "What happened?" "I was working in Knox's office after hours, and I saw a photo on his desk. Of you." From 14 years ago. My heart stopped. Did he see you looking at it? No. But Mom, he kept it. All these years, he kept your photo. What did you do? I left before he could come back. But Mom, he still loves you. After all this time, he still loves you. That just makes this worse, River. Or it makes it better. Because when we tell him, he'll understand why you did what you did. I wish I had his optimism. We were now 7 weeks into the 3-month program. 7 weeks of Knox and I growing closer. 7 weeks of River bonding with his father. 7 weeks of this secret getting bigger and more dangerous. And then, in week 8, everything started to unravel. It started with Fallon. She'd apparently hired an investigator to look into my background. And investigators were very good at finding things people wanted to keep hidden. Knox called me at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, his voice tight with barely controlled anger. Did you know Fallon hired an investigator to research you? What? She apparently thinks you're after my money, that you're running some kind of long con. That's insane. Is it? Because she found something interesting. She found that you worked for my company 14 years ago, that you left abruptly, that you moved to Seattle and had a baby 9 months later. My blood turned to ice. Knox. A baby, Bryn. You had a baby 9 months after you left me. A son, according to the hospital records she somehow got access to. This was it. The moment I'd been dreading. I can explain. Can you? Because from where I'm sitting, there are 2 possibilities. Either you were pregnant when you left and never told me, or you got pregnant right after you left, and your son has nothing to do with me. Which is it? I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't figure out how to tell him the truth. The baby is yours. I was pregnant when I left. The silence on the other end of the phone was deafening. Say something, please. Where's this child now? Knox's voice was cold, controlled. He's here, in San Francisco. More silence. How old? 13. I heard Knox's sharp intake of breath as he did the math. 13. You've had my son for 13 years and never told me. I was trying to protect you. You'd just gotten married to save the company. A baby would have ruined everything. That wasn't your choice to make. I know that now. But Knox, I thought I was doing the right thing. The right thing? Bryn, I've spent 13 years not knowing I had a child. How is that the right thing? I was 21 and scared and I made a mistake. Damn, right, you made a mistake. His voice was shaking with rage. Where is he? This son of mine? I want to meet him. This was the moment I'd been trying to avoid, but there was no avoiding it now. Knox, there's something else you need to know. What else could there possibly be? River, the boy in your youth program, the one you've been mentoring. What about him? He's your son? Our son? The silence that followed was so complete, I thought the call had disconnected. Knox? The kid I've been mentoring for 8 weeks. His voice was barely above a whisper. The brilliant, talented kid I've been working with every day. That's my son? Yes. And he knew? He knew who I was when he applied to the program? He suspected. He found a photo and put the pieces together. So you both lied to me. For 8 weeks, you both lied to my face. We didn't lie. We just didn't tell the truth? That's the same fucking thing, Bryn. I'd never heard Knox this angry. Not even when we were young and fighting about his father's demands. I'm coming over. We're dealing with this now. Knox, it's almost midnight. I don't care. Send me the address. We're having this out tonight. I texted him Sienna's address with shaking hands. Then I called River. He knows. Knox knows everything. River's sharp intake of breath. How? Fallon hired an investigator. Found hospital records. Knox put it together. Is he mad? He's furious. He's coming here now. Should I come too? No. Stay at the dorms. I'll handle this. But Mom. River, I need to do this alone first. I'll call you after, I promise. Knox arrived 20 minutes later, and the man who knocked on Sienna's door wasn't the gentle, hopeful Knox who'd been courting me for 8 weeks. This was someone I'd never seen before. Someone cold and barely containing his rage. Sienna took one look at him and grabbed her keys. I'm going out. You two need privacy. After she left, Knox and I stood in the living room, 3 feet apart, with 13 years of lies between us. Talk. His voice was ice. Explain to me how you thought it was okay to keep my son from me. I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks after you got married. What was I supposed to do? Call you up and destroy everything you just sacrificed for? You were supposed to tell me the truth. You were supposed to trust me to handle it. How? How would you have handled it, Knox? You just married Iris to save your company. Me showing up pregnant would have destroyed that deal. I would have found another way. There was no other way. Your company was failing. You had 800 employees depending on you. The Castellano investment was the only option. My son was the only option that mattered. Knox's voice broke. Bryn, you took 13 years from me. 13 years of birthdays and first days of school and every moment that matters. How could you think that was acceptable? I thought I was protecting everyone. You from an impossible choice. River from being the reason your company failed. Myself from watching you resent us. I wouldn't have resented you. You don't know that. You can't know that. Knox ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I remembered from when he was overwhelmed. And River? He knew who I was when he applied to the program. He found a photo, figured it out. He wanted to meet you. So he lied to me for 8 weeks. Let me mentor him, bond with him, care about him, all while knowing exactly who he was. He wanted you to know him as a person first, not as an obligation. He's my son. He was never an obligation. You don't know that either. Knox, you spent our entire relationship being crushed by obligation and duty. How do you think you would have reacted to another one? Better than I'm reacting to finding out I have a 13-year-old son who's been lying to my face for 2 months. We were both breathing hard, years of pain and regret bleeding into the room. I'm sorry. My voice broke. I'm so sorry. I made the wrong choice. I see that now. But Knox, I thought I was doing the right thing. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. I know. Do you? Do you understand what you've taken from me? I'm starting to. Knox sat down heavily on Sienna's couch, his anger giving way to something that looked like grief. I've spent 8 weeks with River, getting to know him, teaching him, being proud of him, and the whole time, he was my son, and I didn't know it. You were being his father without knowing it. Doesn't that count for something? It counts for the fact that you're both good liars. That's not fair. Fair? Knox's laugh was bitter. You want to talk about fair? I lost 13 years, Bryn. 13 years of being River's father. How is that fair? It's not. None of this is fair. But Knox, what do we do now? Now? Now I meet my son. Properly. With the truth out in the open. He's going to be scared that you hate him. I could never hate him. But I am furious with both of you. I understand. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you don't understand much at all. The words hit like blows, each one deserved. Can I call him? Tell him you're ready to talk? Knox nodded, not trusting his voice. I called River, who answered on the first ring. He wants to meet you. Tomorrow. Properly. Is he really mad? Yes, but not at you. Mostly at me. Mom. It's okay, sweetheart. This is what needed to happen. We should have done it weeks ago. I'm scared. I know. But River, he's your father. And once he gets past the anger, I think he's going to love you. I hope you're right. After I hung up, Knox stood to leave. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., my office, bring River. Okay. He moved toward the door, then paused. I loved you. For 14 years, through everything, I loved you. And you didn't trust me enough to tell me I had a son. Knox. I don't know if I can forgive this, Bryn. I don't know if we can come back from this level of betrayal. He left before I could respond, the door closing with a finality that felt like an ending. I called Sienna, who came back immediately and held me while I cried. You knew this was going to be bad. I didn't know it would be this bad. He's hurt. He's angry. But Bryn, he's also a father now. Once the anger fades, the love will be there. What if he never forgives me? Then you live with the consequences of your choices, but at least River will have his father. That night, I barely slept. I kept replaying Knox's words, the betrayal in his voice, the way he'd looked at me like I was a stranger. The next morning, River and I drove to Gallagher Industries in silence. River was dressed in his best clothes, nervous energy radiating off him. What if he doesn't want me? He wants you. He's just hurt right now. Did I ruin everything? I looked at my brilliant, sensitive son and felt my heart break a little. No, sweetheart. I ruined everything. This is my fault, not yours. We did it together. No, I'm the adult. I should have told him from the beginning. We arrived at Gallagher Industries at 9:55. The receptionist directed us to Knox's office on the top floor. Knox was waiting, standing by the window overlooking the city. He turned when we entered, and I watched him really look at River for the first time. Really look at his son. The resemblance was undeniable. Same dark hair. Same sharp jawline. Same intense focus in his eyes. River at 13 looked exactly like Knox had at that age. Hi. River's voice was small, uncertain. Hi. Knox's voice was rough with emotion. They stood there, father and son, meeting properly for the first time. I should leave you two alone. I started toward the door. Stay. Knox's voice stopped me. This involves you too. I sat in a chair by the door, while Knox gestured for River to sit on the couch. I've spent the last 12 hours trying to figure out what to say to you. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Why didn't you? River looked at me, then back at Knox. Because I wanted you to know me first. The real me, not just some kid claiming to be your son. You thought I'd reject you? I didn't know what you'd do. And I was scared that if you knew right away, you'd only see me as an obligation. Or worse, think Mom and I were after your money. Knox's expression softened slightly. I would never have thought that. How could I know? I've spent my whole life not knowing you. The truth of that statement hit Knox visibly. Tell me about your life. Everything I've missed. And for the next hour, River did. He told Knox about growing up with just me. About being the smartest kid in every class and feeling like he never quite fit in. About teaching himself to code and building his first app. About dreaming of meeting his father someday and wondering if he'd be proud. Knox listened to all of it, his expression shifting from anger to grief to something that looked like love. When River finished, Knox was quiet for a long moment. I am proud of you. I've been proud of you since the moment you presented your first analysis. I just didn't know I was proud of my son. So you're not mad at me? I'm hurt that you didn't tell me. But River, I understand why you didn't, and I'm grateful for the 8 weeks we had, even if I didn't know what they really meant. Does this mean you want to be my dad? The vulnerable hope in River's voice undid Knox completely. I've been your dad for 8 weeks without knowing it. Now I'd like to be your dad with full knowledge of what that means. River's face lit up with the first genuine smile I'd seen from him in days. Really? Really? Knox's voice was thick with emotion. If you'll let me? Yes. Absolutely yes. Knox opened his arms, and River didn't hesitate. He crossed the room and hugged his father for the first time, both of them crying, both of them holding on like they'd never let go. I watched from my chair, tears streaming down my face, as my son finally got the thing he'd wanted his whole life. His father's love. When they finally pulled apart, both wiping their eyes, Knox turned to me. We need to talk, you and I, about what happens now. I know. But first, I want to spend the day with my son. Without you there. The dismissal hurt, but I understood it. Of course. I'll leave you two alone. I stood to go, and River looked between us with concern. You're not going to punish Mom, are you? For not telling you? Knox's expression was complicated. Your mother and I have things to work out. But that's between us. It has nothing to do with you and me. I love her. She did everything for me. If you're mad at her, you should be mad at me too. River, I'm not punishing anyone. But your mom made choices that affected all of us. We need to talk about those choices. As long as you remember that she's the best mom in the world, and she only kept the secret because she thought it was protecting me. I know. Knox's voice softened. Your mom loves you more than anything. I can see that. After I left, I spent the day at Sienna's, waiting for news. River texted periodically with updates. He's taking me to lunch at some fancy place. Then, he wants me to meet his best friend Holden. Then, Mom, he's really great. He's everything I hoped he'd be. I was happy for River. Genuinely happy. But I was also heartbroken, because I could feel Knox pulling away from me with every hour that passed. That night, Knox dropped River off at the dorms, then texted me. We need to talk. Tomorrow night. Dinner. Okay. Where? I'll pick you up at 7. The next evening, Knox picked me up from Sienna's in his car, not speaking as we drove to an address I didn't recognize. We pulled up to a beautiful home in Pacific Heights. His home, I realized. I wanted privacy for this conversation. Inside, the house was stunning, but impersonal. Expensive furniture arranged by a decorator. Art chosen for investment value rather than personal taste. It looked like a showroom, not a home. Do you want something to drink? Wine, if you have it. Knox poured us both glasses, and we sat in his living room, the city lights twinkling below. I've spent 2 days thinking about what to say to you. And I keep coming back to the same thing. You didn't trust me. Knox, I was 21 and pregnant and terrified. I understand that. But Bryn, at some point in the last 13 years, you could have told me. When River was 5. When he was 10. Last year. Last month. You had countless opportunities to tell me I had a son, and you chose not to. I was trying to protect everyone. You were protecting yourself from having to face the consequences of your choice. The accusation stung because it was true. You're right. I was scared. Scared of your reaction. Scared of what it would mean for River. Scared of complicating your life. My life has been empty for 14 years. The only complication that mattered was the one I didn't know existed. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. Knox took a long sip of his wine. River is incredible. You did an amazing job raising him. Thank you. He's smart and thoughtful, and he has this integrity that's rare in adults, let alone kids. You gave him that. We gave him that. He has your mind and your passion for using business to help people. I want to be his father. Really be his father. Not just the guy who shows up for holidays. I want that too. Which means I need to be in San Francisco full-time. No more Seattle. No more distance. Knox, I have a life in Seattle. A business. Sienna can run your Seattle office. You can run the San Francisco office here. You've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about everything. And Bryn, if I'm going to be River's father, I need to be present. That means you need to be here too. So I uproot my entire life? Is that really an unreasonable request, given that I've missed 13 years? No. It's not unreasonable. It's just scary. Knox's voice softened slightly. Change is always scary. What about us? You said you didn't know if you could forgive me. I don't know if I can. Not right now. The betrayal is too fresh. So we co-parent as exes? For now. Until I figure out if I can trust you again. I understand. Knox set down his wine glass. I loved you, Bryn. For 14 years, you were the only woman I ever really loved. But I don't know if I can love someone who didn't trust me enough to tell me I had a child. I trust you now. Do you? Or are you just saying that because you have to? I trust you to be an amazing father to River. I trust you to do right by him. But not with your heart. Not yet. The honesty hurt, but it was necessary. Knox, I've spent 13 years protecting my heart. I can't just open it back up because it's convenient. Then we're at an impasse, because I can't open my heart to someone who's proven they'll hide the most important things from me. So we're really over? Before we even began again? I don't know. I need time to process all of this. Time to figure out if there's a way forward. How much time? However long it takes. I stood to leave, knowing there was nothing left to say. I'll start looking for a place in San Francisco. Get River enrolled in school here. Make this work for him. Thank you. Knox, for what it's worth, keeping River from you is the biggest regret of my life. Mine too. But he didn't stop me as I left. Didn't call me back. Didn't give me any hope that we could find our way back to each other. 2 weeks later, I'd found an apartment in the Mission, enrolled River in a gifted school program, and officially opened Sienna's and my San Francisco office. River split his time between my apartment and Knox's house, bonding with his father in a way that made my heart both full and broken. Knox and I communicated only about River. Polite texts about schedules and school events. Nothing personal. Nothing about us. Until the day River's school called with an emergency. Your son has been in an accident. You need to come immediately. I was there in 15 minutes, my heart in my throat. Knox arrived at the same moment, both of us running into the school nurse's office. River sat on the examination table, his arm in a makeshift sling, tears streaming down his face. What happened? Knox and I said simultaneously. He fell during gym class, broke his arm. The nurse explained. We've called an ambulance. I'm coming with you. Again, Knox and I spoke at the same time. In the ambulance, with River between us, we each held one of his hands. It hurts. River's voice was small. I know, baby. But they'll give you something for the pain at the hospital. You're going to be fine, son. Knox's voice was gentle. Just a broken arm. It'll heal. Both of you are here. Of course we're here. We're your parents. River looked between us, even through his pain seeing something we couldn't. You're both here together. You're not fighting. Knox and I made eye contact over River's head, something passing between us. We'll always be here for you, I said. Both of us. Always, Knox confirmed. At the hospital, River's arm was set and cast. The doctor prescribed pain medication and sent us home with instructions for care. Someone needs to stay with him tonight. Monitor for any complications. I can take the first shift, I offered. I'll take the second, Knox said. My house has a guest room. You can both stay there. That night, after River was settled and sleeping, Knox and I sat in his living room with coffee, keeping vigil. He's going to be okay, Knox said quietly. I know, but it scared me, seeing him hurt. Me too. Silence stretched between us, but it was different than before, softer somehow. Knox, can I ask you something? Anything. Do you think you'll ever be able to forgive me? Knox was quiet for a long moment. I've been thinking about that, about forgiveness and trust and whether people can really move past something this big. And I look at River, this incredible kid you raised, and I realize that you did an amazing job. Maybe better than I would have if I'd been there from the beginning. Don't say that. It's true. At 24, I was a mess, drowning in obligation and family pressure, and trying to save a company. Would I have been a good father then? Or would I have just been another source of stress for River? You would have figured it out. Maybe, or maybe I needed 14 years to become someone worthy of being his father. You were always worthy. Was I? Knox turned to face me. Bryn, I was so focused on obligation and legacy and what my father wanted. Would I have chosen River over all of that? Yes, without hesitation. How do you know? Because I knew you, Knox. I knew your heart. That's why I left. Because I couldn't bear to watch you choose between River and everything else. Knox studied my face in the dim light. What if I told you that you choosing for me was the kindest thing you could have done? That it saved me from having to make an impossible choice? I'd say you're just trying to make me feel better. I'm trying to be honest. Bryn, I've spent 2 weeks being angry at you, feeling betrayed and hurt. But I've also spent 2 weeks watching you and River together. Seeing how you've raised him. Understanding the sacrifice you made. I didn't sacrifice anything. You sacrificed 13 years. We both sacrificed. You sacrificed the support of a partner. I sacrificed time with my son. Neither of us got what we wanted. No, we didn't. Knox moved closer on the couch. But what if we could have it now? Not the past, but the future? What are you saying? I'm saying that I'm tired of being angry. Tired of punishing you for a choice you made when you were barely more than a kid yourself. Knox. I'm saying that River deserves parents who can be in the same room without tension, who can co-parent without anger. And what about us? Beyond co-parenting? I don't know yet, but I'd like to find out. It was the first glimpse of hope I'd had in weeks. I'd like that too. Knox reached out and took my hand, the first time he'd touched me in weeks. I can't promise I'm ready to jump back in where we left off. The trust is going to take time to rebuild. I understand. But I can promise I'm willing to try. For River, and for us. That's all I can ask for. We sat together in the quiet house, holding hands while our son slept upstairs, both of us cautiously hopeful that maybe, just maybe, we could build something new from the wreckage of our past. Over the next month, Knox and I slowly rebuilt our relationship. Not as lovers, not yet, but as partners in raising River. We had family dinners once a week, attended River's school events together, learned to communicate without anger or blame. And somewhere in there, we became friends. Real friends, not just co-parents going through the motions. We talked about our days, shared our fears and hopes for River, laughed at inside jokes only we understood. One night, after River had gone to bed following a family dinner at Knox's house, We sat on his terrace looking at the city lights. "Can I tell you something?" Knox asked. "Always. I'm glad you came back. Glad the program brought you and River here. Even though it's been painful, I'm grateful. I'm glad too. Even though I'm terrified every day that I'm going to mess this up." "You're not going to mess it up. How can you be so sure?" "Because I know you, and I know you'd do anything for River. For both of you." Knox looked at me, something shifting in his expression. "Both of us? River, and you? I'd do anything for both of you." "Bryn, I know we're taking things slow. I know trust takes time to rebuild. But Knox, I need you to know that I love you. I've loved you for 14 years, and that never changed. Even when you were lying to me? Especially then. Because every day I didn't tell you was another day I had to live with the knowledge that I was keeping you from your son." Knox reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. "I love you too. I never stopped. Even when I was furious with you, I loved you. So where does that leave us?" He leaned in slowly, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. His kiss was soft and careful, like we were both fragile things that could shatter at any moment. "It leaves us here," he whispered against my lips. "Taking it one day at a time. Building something real, something honest. I can live with that." "Good, because you're not getting rid of me now." Over the next 6 months, Knox and I rebuilt what we'd lost and created something even stronger. It wasn't easy. There were moments when the past hurt too much, when the betrayal felt too fresh, when we both wondered if we were making a mistake. But we kept showing up, for River, for each other, for the family we were becoming. River thrived with both his parents in his life. His confidence grew. His smile came easier. He had Knox's mind and my heart, and together we were raising someone extraordinary. Knox proposed 6 months to the day after River's broken arm brought us back together. He did it at dinner, just the three of us, because that's what we'd become. A unit, a family. "I know I said I needed time to rebuild trust," he said, getting down on one knee while River recorded the moment on his phone. "And I have. Bryn Washington, you're the most stubborn, brilliant, infuriating woman I've ever known. You drove me crazy for 14 years, and I want you to drive me crazy for the rest of my life. Will you marry me?" "Yes." The answer was easy. Always yes. River cheered. Knox slipped a ring on my finger, and for the first time in 14 years, everything felt right. We were married 3 months later in a small ceremony with just family and close friends. River stood between us as our best man, holding both our hands as we exchanged vows. Knox promised to never let obligation come before love again. I promised to never let fear make my choices. And together, we promised River that he would always be our priority. That family came first, above companies and careers, and everything else. 1 year after our wedding, I stood in Knox's office, now our office, looking at the photo on the desk. Not the old one of Knox and me from 14 years ago, but a new one. Our family. Knox, me, and River. Taken at River's 14th birthday party. All of us smiling like we'd won the lottery. In a way, we had. "Ready to go?" Knox appeared in the doorway, jacket slung over his shoulder. "Where's River?" "Waiting in the car. He says if we're late to his science fair, he's disowning us both." Knox laughed, wrapping his arms around me from behind. "Our dramatic son. He gets that from you." Lies. We stood there for a moment, looking out at the city where our story had started so many years ago. "Do you ever regret it?" Knox asked quietly. "The 14 years apart?" "Every day. But Knox, I think we both needed that time to become the people we are now. People who could build this." I gestured to the photo, to the life we'd created. "Maybe, but I still wish I'd had 14 more years with you. Then we'll just have to make the next 40 years count double. Deal?" If this story of second chances, secret children, and love that survives impossible odds touched your heart, leave a comment below. Tell me about a time when the truth was harder than lies. Tell me about loving someone even when fear told you to run. Tell me about building families from broken pieces. Subscribe for more stories about parents and children finding each other, about love that survives decades, about forgiveness earned through showing up every single day. Share this with someone who knows that some secrets come from love, not malice. That keeping a child from their father isn't always about cruelty. That sometimes people make impossible choices and spend years wondering if they chose wrong. Because Bryn kept River from Knox for 13 years. Not to hurt him, not to punish him, but because she was a scared 21-year-old trying to protect everyone from impossible choices. And when the truth finally came out, it nearly destroyed them. But it also gave them something they'd never had before. Honesty, real partnership. A family built on truth instead of convenience. River didn't meet his father until he was 13. Spent his childhood without knowing where half his DNA came from, but when he finally got the chance, he was brave enough to reach for it. Clever enough to make it work on his terms. Wise enough to see what his parents couldn't, that they belonged together. One accidental meeting in a lobby, 3 months of bonding without knowing the truth. 13 years of secrets finally revealed, and a lifetime of second chances earned through forgiveness and growth. Sometimes, the intern working beside you is exactly the person you've been searching for. Sometimes your son has been there all along, hiding in plain sight. Sometimes love survives impossible betrayals because it's strong enough to choose forgiveness over anger. Knox lost 13 years with his son, but he gained a future with the family he'd always wanted and never knew he had. Bryn lost 14 years with the man she loved, but she gained the courage to stop running and start trusting. And River gained what every child deserves. Parents who love him, parents who love each other. A family that chose to be whole instead of broken. The secret is out. The truth has set them free. And sometimes, that's all any of us can ask for. The end.